Hello, everyone. I'm Pablo Diego Rosell, and I'm here to talk to you about augmented alternative communication. This is a bit of a mouthful. I don't know if anyone has heard this term before. It's basically a way of using pictures, of using sounds, of using a variety of multimedia resources to help particularly children with developmental difficulties within the autism spectrum in particular, to understand what's going to happen next, to manage their anxiety a little bit, to help them with mental flexibility a little bit, to help them plan for the day. So this is an app that you can check on the Google Play Store right now. It's in Android right now. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the process of how I came to build it, and particularly about how I decided to use AI for this, which I wasn't planning to in the beginning. So first, a little bit about myself. I am actually also not a dev, so maybe this is becoming a theme for the day. I am more in the data science space. I've been working in data science and that like R, Python sphere for about 20 years now. So I'm dev adjacent, but not quite. I had to buy the hoodie actually for the day. So I do have quite a bit of experience though in the space of AI and using it for this particular type of problem. And the mission really for me comes more from a personal circumstance. I have a child with autism spectrum disorder, with epilepsy associated, a bunch of really nasty things, and I ended up having to use these systems and these different applications for that particular reason. And these tools are pretty critical for us in the day-to-day, but there's really a great solution right now. So here's basically the app that most people would use. This is called the Pictogram Agenda app, and it works very well. Basically, what you do with this is basically you generate agendas with pictures of what's going to happen during the day, and then children can look at this, can animate, can interact with it, so that they can feel the flow of the activities of the day, and they can anticipate them, and they can better modulate their emotions in preparation for that. Now, this application, it's a free application. It's the app that most people are using, but it's a bit clunky. So putting together these types of agenda takes quite a long time. I'm just going to reproduce here in real time while I talk about the other things, and I'm sure it won't be done by the time I'm finished with this slide. But basically, these routines work, but they are just very hard to create. Takes a long time. And usually when you need them is the worst possible time, when you're under stress because your child is having a meltdown because they are struggling with something, they're screaming, and they may be like completely breaking down while you are like tapping on your phone trying to find the right pictogram for that situation. And your child is going crazy over there, and it's really stressful, and it's not really a very user-friendly application, like doing all of this stuff while all of this is happening. So timeliness is everything for this type of application. Putting together an agenda like that takes about a minute and a half. So I thought, okay, this is a mess. There's got to be a better way, and let me build it in a way that's as low tech as possible, because this is not a very hard problem to solve, like finding pictograms and using just search and semantic search or whatever to identify pictograms using just voice, right? So basically, I decided to come up with my own application. Using these basic 4 design principles. The app is called Picto means picto now in Spanish. First principle is it has to be voice first, so that you don't have to be typing. You can just dictate the things that you need. It needs to be fast and responsive. It needs to be adaptable so that you can use it in multiple situations throughout the day and for multiple different purposes. And quite important, it has to be engaging for children to interact with it. It has to be easy, but also needs to have sound, needs to have animations and a number of different things that it would work for children. So I came up with this initial basic flow, which is mostly offline. I wanted to just make sure everything could be run from your phone without having to rely on APIs or connectivity or anything like that. So it's mostly just dictation with the Android speech-to-text dictation transcription, then just very old-school NLP normalization so that you can get to your lemmas that then you can match to a database that is local with all of the pictograms in that database. And if the pictogram is in that database, then you will just match it at the pictogram and the label. If it's not, in the edge cases that you may not have a pictogram, then you generate an image to this alternative flow here. I did still have to add a bit of AI eventually, because for the image generation, I think the models that you can run on a device are probably not good enough at this point. But I'd love to hear ideas if there's any good model out there that you all know. So I had to go through Replicate for their image generation Flux models, which are very fast, very cheap. And then I would generate the pictograms that is missing. I still had to go through a translation process first, because these image models are quite dumb, really, and they only speak English, and they're quite limited in their intention recognition and things like that. So you have to give it very well specified before you generate the prompt for the image generation. So these work, pretty decently. Just by the way, just doing old school NLP, just showing the Dart files here that do all of the NLP. This is like a few thousand lines. You can get like 80% of the work of pictogram matching like that. And this is like the basic flow of how this would work, right, in real life. You just say your words, and then it matches, and they show on the screen, and then you can have all of the other nice things. And it's operated from an action bar that is immediately available for parents. So this is kind of the happy flow, right? And this is what I would hope that most people would do. But then I started doing some beta testing. I actually released it a month ago or so. Then I started seeing what the real examples of people using it are. And I started running into like super weird things. And people are using it for like narrating children's stories and in completely different ways that I wasn't expecting. So one user said había una vez una gallina que ponía huevos. And I'm like, what the fuck? What do I do with that? I mean, like you start generating all kind of random things, because the algorithm is basically matching some sections of that sentence to a pictogram, like Beth, gallina, huevos. We do have pictograms for that, but not for the verbs and not in the past tense. So it starts generating kind of these crappy pictograms that are picking up the English translation. It's a complete mess. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't recognize the user intent. So I bit the bullet and decided, okay, well, I obviously need some kind of intent recognition here. I'm going to have to build some kind of AI layer on top. So I added an AI planner with Groq. Basically, I use Groq's OpenAI GPT, the open source model that they released over there. I don't know if you use Groq. It's really great. I mean, it's super fast, it's very cheap, API is super simple, it works like a charm, fantastic. And I generate this AI planner with basically 5 strategic actions it can take. It can either use an existing pictogram or make a sequence of pictograms, modify an existing pictogram with a label or a negation, skip a word, or generate a new pictogram as a last resort, because image generation is expensive and slow. So this takes care of maybe another 10% of edge cases, so pretty nice. I embedded here in the flow. I embedded here right before deciding to go with a local pictogram. So the AI planner is able to choose from the pictograms locally, and if it doesn't find it there, it generates the prompt and generates a pictogram. So this works quite well, but I still run into some additional edge cases. So this is one example. This is, for example, for Oso Polar. So Oso is in the local database. Polar is not. So instead of having 2 pictograms, the AI planner realizes that they should be one thing. It doesn't have the pictogram locally for Oso Polar, so it generates an image and it pops it up and it looks great. So fantastic. Okay, I've taken care of some of those issues. Some additional edge cases that I have to deal with next. So working with a person who trains children for martial arts, and they have some children with special needs, so they are interested in doing this for judo. So putting on the judogi. This is the actual expression that teachers would use. Now, Flux Schnell is the fastest model. It's not very smart in that regard, and it's just like popping up like random Japanese characters. I don't know if anyone here speaks Japanese and can interpret that, but it's like basically kind of random Japanese nonsense. So I realized I still need another layer of AI augmentation, which is on the image prompting. So basically generate a prompt that can actually generate a useful image. This was like the template I was using initially. So basically, okay, provide a lot of stylistic guides on how to generate a pictogram. It has to be flat with simple colors, with not like without any gradients or anything like that. But I basically was just inserting the word, right? So a flat high contrast pictogram representing putting on the judogi, and without any further context or any indications of what the image should look like or anything like that, except for the basic stylistic guide. So I decided to then add another AI prompter layer here, which basically takes all of that context and the output from the AI planner, and generates a really rich prompt that an image generation model can understand well and can be consistent. So you are an expert pictogram prompt engineer for FluxDev image generation, so you basically give it a lot of structure into all of the things that it should prompt the image generation model about, and also some examples of what a good prompt would be, and all of the stylistic side here towards the end, like always make it look like this type of pictogram. And so that works great. Different levels for different types of model within that replicate list of models. So there's a big family of models. So these are the three kind of basic image generation models. This is the cheapest, fastest one. Very fast, half a second latency, and very cheap. But it looks like a bit like a chicken. It's not really clear whether it's putting on a judogi or something. So it doesn't really capture human shape all that well, particularly like postures and things that are a little bit more nuanced. FluxDev typically misses the eyes, but other than that, it's just fantastic. And then Flux Pro, which is much slower and much more expensive, fine, but maybe overkill. So final production version is now using FluxDev. So yeah, this is some of the work I did on the app. I still have a few challenges, and obviously this is only the tip of the spear, but still a lot of problems around getting feedback. Actually, this is more of a user research problem, but when people are using the app in these type of stressful situations, last thing they want to do is give us your feedback, send us a comment, contact us and all that. It's like, something you use in emergency situations only, so it's really hard for them to provide feedback that way. This is still a hybrid system, so I started with, local only, on device, like let's not bother with all of this other stuff. But I ended up having to go there, and I like to go back on device if possible. So, if there's on-device models that work well enough for these, particularly for image generation, but also for reasoning, for basic reasoning, I'll want to move in that direction. And also, there's something I'm not particularly proud of in this prompting flow, which is I'm asking Groq to pick from a list of 15,000 pictograms with just their label and maybe a basic description. It's a lot, and it does a reasonable job, but I'm not particularly proud of doing that. So I'm sure there's got to be a better kind of semantic search approach I can use on device that's good enough, so I can subset like, this is the 100 pictograms that might be good candidates for this particular task. So that's, if you have any tips or any suggestions, that would be great. So yeah, that's all, and feel free to download it, rate it, use it, find bugs with it, or do prompt injection, all of these things that you guys do anyway. So would appreciate any feedback you have in that regard. So thank you so much.